Marilyn Monroe was more than just a movie star. She was a bright light on the Hollywood screen. Her smile could make millions of people happy. Her voice was soft and gentle, kind of like a whisper. She became one of the most famous women in the entire world. People everywhere knew her name and her face. They saw her in movies, in magazines, and on posters. She was the picture of glamour and beauty. But there was so much more to her than what people saw on the surface. She was a complicated person with a story full of both incredible success and deep, personal sadness. Her image is timeless. Even today, so many years after her time in the spotlight, her picture is everywhere. You can see her face on t-shirts, coffee mugs, and art prints. She represents a special time in Hollywood's history, the golden age of cinema. When people think of classic movie stars, her name is often the first one that comes to mind. She had a special kind of magic. This magic made audiences fall in love with her. They felt they knew her, even though she was a huge star. Her appeal was universal, touching the hearts of people from all walks of life. But why do we still remember her so strongly? It's not just because of her beauty or her famous movies, it's because her story feels so human. She was a person who fought hard for her dreams. She came from a difficult beginning and climbed to the very top. Yet even with all the fame and money, she searched for something more. She wanted to be loved for who she truly was, not just for the image of Marilyn Monroe. She wanted to be seen as a serious actress, not just a pretty face. Her vulnerability made her real to people. This is the story of that woman. It's the story of Norma Jean, the girl who became the legendary Marilyn Monroe. We'll look at her difficult childhood and her amazing rise to fame. We'll explore the bright lights of her career and the dark shadows of her private life. We'll see her hopes, her dreams, and the struggles she faced every single day. It's a story about the high cost of fame and the search for happiness. It's the tragic, beautiful, and unforgettable tale of Hollywood's golden girl, a star whose light has never truly faded away. Before she was Marilyn Monroe, she was a little girl named Norma Jean Mortensen. She was born in Los Angeles on June 1, 1926. Her start in life was not easy. Her mother, Gladys Baker, had mental health problems and couldn't take care of her. Gladys loved her daughter very much, but she was often unwell. This meant that Norma Jean couldn't live with her mother. She never truly knew her father. His identity was a mystery that followed her throughout her life. This left a deep hole in her heart, a feeling of not belonging to anyone. Norma Jean spent most of her childhood moving from one place to another. She lived in many foster homes and even spent time in an orphanage. It was a lonely and unstable life for a young girl. She often felt like an outsider, a child who didn't have a real family or a place to call her own. She dreamed of a stable home filled with love and safety. She wanted what other children had, parents who were there for her, and a bed that was hers every night. These early experiences made her feel insecure and unloved, feelings that would stay with her forever. In each new home, she tried her best to fit in. She was a quiet and often shy girl. To escape her reality, she found comfort in a world of fantasy. She loved going to the movies. In the dark theaters of Los Angeles, she could watch glamorous stars on the big screen. They seemed so confident, so beautiful, and so loved by everyone. She dreamed that one day, she could be like them. The movies were her escape, a place where she could imagine a different, better life for herself, away from the sadness and uncertainty that she knew so well. This difficult childhood shaped the woman she would become. The constant feeling of being unwanted created a deep need for approval and affection. She spent her entire life searching for the love and stability she never had as a girl. She wanted people to see her, to value her, and to never leave her. This powerful desire would drive her to become a star, but it would also make her vulnerable. Her past was a shadow that she could never quite escape, no matter how famous or beloved she became in the eyes of the world. Norma Jean's life began to change during World War II. To escape another move to an orphanage, she got married when she was only 16. Her husband, Jim Doherty, was a young sailor. While he was away at sea, Norma Jean went to work in a factory. She was inspecting parachutes, doing her part for the war effort. It was here that a photographer discovered her. He was taking pictures of women contributing to the war, and he was struck by her natural beauty and photogenic quality. He saw something special in the young factory worker. The photographer encouraged her to try modeling. Norma Jean was hesitant at first, but she decided to give it a try. She started taking modeling classes and soon signed with an agency. She was a natural in front of the camera. She learned how to pose and how to connect with the lens. Her pictures started appearing on the covers of magazines. She became a popular pin-up model, a favorite among soldiers overseas. During this time she dyed her brown hair a bright, sunny blonde. This was the first step in creating a whole new identity for herself. Her success as a model opened the door to Hollywood. She dreamed of being an actress, just like the stars she admired as a child. She signed her first movie contract with 20th Century Fox in 1946. It was the studio executives who decided she needed a new name. They thought Norma Jean sounded too ordinary. They chose Marilyn after a stage actress, and Monroe, which was her mother's maiden name. And just like that, Norma Jean Baker began her transformation. The shy girl was on her way to becoming the confident, glamorous Marilyn Monroe. Her first few years in Hollywood were not easy. She took acting, singing, and dancing lessons. She worked very hard to improve her skills. She had small parts in a few movies, often with only 1 or 2 lines. The studio did not quite know what to do with her. They saw her beauty, but were not yet convinced of her talent. It was a period of struggle and uncertainty. But Marilyn was determined. She believed in her dream and was not going to give up. She was ready to work as hard as it took to become a real star. Marilyn Monroe's hard work finally started to pay off in the early 1950s. She got small but important roles in 2 very good movies. One was The Asphalt Jungle, and the other was All About Eve. Even though she was only on screen for a few minutes, audiences noticed her right away. She had a special presence that captured everyone's attention. She was not just another pretty actress, she had a unique charm and charisma. The public wanted to see more of her. Hollywood studios finally realized they had a potential superstar on their hands. Her big break came with the movie Niagara in 1953. In this film she played a beautiful but dangerous woman. It was the first movie where her name was billed above the title. That same year she starred in 2 more hugely successful films that cemented her stardom. In Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, she sang the famous song Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. In How to Marry a Millionaire, she showed off her great talent for comedy. She became known for playing the dumb blonde character, a woman who was beautiful and a little bit silly, but always had a good heart. The public fell completely in love with her. She was the ultimate Hollywood bombshell. Her image was everywhere. She had a famous walk, a soft, breathy voice, and a smile that could light up the entire screen. Men wanted to be with her, and women wanted to be like her. She became a massive box office draw, and her movies made millions of dollars. The studio created a very specific public image for her. She was presented as a fun-loving, glamorous, and slightly naive sex symbol. This was the Marilyn Monroe the world came to know and adore. Behind the scenes, Marilyn was a dedicated professional. She worked tirelessly on her acting. She wanted to be more than just a beautiful face. She studied with famous acting coaches to improve her craft. Some of her most popular movies from this time include The 7-Year Itch, with its famous scene of her white dress blowing up over a subway grate. Another was Some Like It Hot, which is often called one of the greatest comedy films ever made. She proved she had perfect comedic timing and could hold her own with the best actors in Hollywood. Fame was not everything Marilyn had dreamed it would be. While the world adored her, she felt incredibly lonely and insecure. The pressure of being Marilyn Monroe all the time was, honestly, just enormous. She had to be perfect, beautiful, and happy whenever she was in public. But, this was very different from how she often felt inside. The glamorous image was like a mask she had to wear. She once said, "I'm Marilyn Monroe on the screen, but in real life I'm just Norma Jean." This split between her public persona and her private self caused her a lot of pain and confusion. She also struggled in her professional life. Marilyn was tired of playing the same dumb blonde character over and over again. She longed for more serious, dramatic roles that would show her true acting ability. However, the movie studio, 20th Century Fox, controlled her career. They had her under a strict contract and wanted her to continue making the comedies that were so profitable. This led to many fights with the studio executives. She felt trapped and disrespected as an artist. Marilyn knew she was capable of more, but they refused to see her as a serious actress. Her personal life was also filled with turmoil. Her marriages did not bring her the lasting happiness she so desperately wanted. Her marriage to baseball star Joe DiMaggio ended because he could not handle her massive fame. Her next marriage to the famous playwright Arthur Miller also fell apart. She suffered from miscarriages, which brought her immense sadness because she longed to be a mother. These personal heartbreaks added to her feelings of loneliness and failure. She felt that she could not find the simple, stable love she had craved since childhood. To To cope with the pressure, anxiety, and deep sadness, Marilyn began to rely on prescription drugs. She took pills to help her sleep at night and other pills to give her energy during the day. This dependency became a serious problem. It affected her health and her work. She started arriving late to movie sets, or sometimes not at all. She had trouble remembering her lines. People in Hollywood began to see her as difficult and unreliable. The very things she used to escape her pain were now creating even more problems in her life. More than anything else in the world, Marilyn Monroe wanted to be loved. This was really the central theme of her entire life, a deep and constant longing that began in her unstable childhood. She wanted a love that was real and unconditional, not just the adoration of millions of anonymous fans. She wanted someone to love Norma Jean, the vulnerable person behind the famous name. She looked for this love in her marriages and relationships, always hoping to find a partner who could provide the safety and security she never had. She wanted to build the family she always dreamed of. Her marriage to Joe DiMaggio was, in many ways, a search for a strong, protective father figure. He was a national hero, a simple and quiet man. She hoped he could shield her from the craziness of Hollywood. But he was a very traditional man who wanted a wife who stayed at home. He was uncomfortable with her sexy public image and the constant attention she received. The famous scene with her dress blowing up in The 7-Year Itch became a major point of conflict for them. Their love was passionate, but honestly, it just couldn't survive the clash between his world and hers. Her marriage to Arthur Miller was a search for intellectual respect. He was a brilliant writer and one of America's most respected intellectuals. By marrying him, she hoped people would finally see her as a serious person, not just a sex symbol. She truly admired his mind and believed he could help her become a better actress. For a while they seemed happy. She moved to New York and studied acting seriously, but sadly this relationship also ended in heartbreak. She discovered he had written unflattering things about her in his private journal, which made her feel deeply betrayed. This constant search for love and acceptance was a painful cycle of hope and disappointment. Each failed relationship left her feeling more alone and unworthy of love. She once said that when you're a failure in Hollywood, they'll forgive you, but when you're a success, they'll kill you. She felt that her fame was a barrier to finding true connection. People were either drawn to the image of Marilyn Monroe or intimidated by it. It was very difficult for anyone to see the real, sensitive woman who just wanted to be held and told that everything would be okay. Marilyn Monroe was deeply frustrated with her Hollywood image. While the world saw her as a glamorous, carefree blonde, she saw herself as an artist trapped in a golden cage. She desperately wanted to break free from the typecasting that had made her famous. She did not want to spend her entire career playing comedic characters who were beautiful but not very smart. She knew she had more to offer as an actress. She dreamed of playing complex, dramatic roles that would challenge her and allow her to show her true range and depth. To pursue this dream, she took a brave and risky step. In 1955, at the height of her fame, she walked away from her lucrative contract with 20th Century Fox. She moved from Hollywood to New York City. There, she enrolled in the famous Actors Studio run by the legendary acting coach Lee Strasberg. She wanted to study the method, a style of acting that required actors to dig deep into their own emotions and experiences. She sat in classes with other serious actors, working hard to learn and improve her craft away from the glare of the Hollywood lights. By forming her own production company, Marilyn Monroe Productions, she gained more control over her career. This was a revolutionary move for an actress at that time. It allowed her to choose her own projects and have more creative input. The first film she made with her company was The Bus Stop. In this movie, she played a saloon singer with big dreams but little talent. It was a more complex and emotional character than she had ever played before. Critics praised her performance, and it really proved that she could handle more serious material. She was finally showing the world her true potential. Her next role, in The Prince and the Showgirl, was another attempt to stretch her acting muscles. She starred opposite the great British actor Sir Laurence Olivier. While the production was very difficult, and she and Olivier did not get along, her performance was again praised, especially in Europe. These films were part of her fight for respect. She wanted to be seen as a legitimate actress, not just a product created by a studio. Her dream was to be remembered for her talent and her artistry, not just for her famous figure and blonde hair. Marilyn's final years were a mixture of professional ambition and personal decline. Her last completed film was The Misfits, released in 1961. The screenplay was written for her by her then-husband Arthur Miller. The movie's story was dark and sad, and her character was a lost and lonely woman, which really mirrored her own feelings at the time. The filming was extremely difficult. Her marriage to Miller was falling apart right there on the set. Her reliance on prescription drugs was getting worse, and she was often ill, causing long delays in production. The film was a commercial failure but is now seen as one of her most powerful and honest performances. After her divorce from Arthur Miller and the tough experience of making The Misfits, Marilyn's health continued to suffer. She was emotionally exhausted and felt more isolated than ever before. She was admitted to a psychiatric clinic for a short time, which was honestly a terrifying experience for her. She was trying to get her life back on track. She bought her first house, a small home in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles. It was the only home she ever truly owned. She was trying to create the stable roots she had always wanted. In 1962, she began working on a new movie, a comedy called Something's Got to Give. She was excited about the project and seemed to be in better spirits. She did a famous photo shoot and gave an interview to Life magazine, showing the world she was ready for a comeback. However, her old problems soon returned. She was frequently sick and absent from the set. The studio, 20th Century Fox, grew impatient with the delays and the mounting costs. In a shocking move, they fired her from the movie. This was a devastating blow to her professional pride and her fragile confidence. Just a few weeks later, on the night of August 4, 1962, Marilyn Monroe died in her Brentwood home. The official cause of death was listed as a probable suicide from an overdose of sleeping pills. She was only 36 years old. The world was stunned and heartbroken. The brightest star in Hollywood had gone out far too soon. Her sudden and tragic death created a mystery that continues to fascinate people to this day. It was a deeply sad ending for a woman who had given so much joy to the world but had found so little peace for herself. Marilyn Monroe's influence did not end with her death. In fact, in many ways, it has only grown stronger over the decades. She has become much more than just a movie star from a bygone era. She is a permanent icon of pop culture, a symbol of beauty, glamour, and tragedy. Her image is one of the most recognizable in the world, reproduced countless times by artists like Andy Warhol and used in advertising and fashion. She represents the ultimate Hollywood dream, but also its dark side. Her story serves as a timeless cautionary tale about the dangers of fame. People remain fascinated by her because she was so full of contradictions. She was a global sex symbol who was also deeply insecure. She was a brilliant comedic actress who longed to be taken seriously. She was adored by millions but felt profoundly lonely. This complexity makes her feel real and relatable, even all these years later. People connect with her vulnerability. They see her struggle to be loved and respected, and they recognize a part of their own human experience in her story. She was not a perfect goddess. She was a flawed and fragile human being, which makes her all the more compelling. Her legacy in film is also secure. While some of her movies may seem dated, her performances remain fresh and captivating. She had a unique talent that has never been duplicated. Her comedic timing in films like Some Like It Hot is still considered perfect. Her emotional depth in The Misfits shows the great dramatic actress she could have become. She influenced a generation of performers and changed the way women were portrayed on screen. She proved that an actress could be both a sex symbol and a powerful business person by creating her own production company. Ultimately, we still love Marilyn because her light continues to shine. She had a special magic that the camera loved and that audiences could feel. She brought joy and laughter to people around the world. Her story is a powerful reminder of the human heart's deep need for love, acceptance, and a place to belong. She was a beautiful dreamer who flew very close to the sun. Though her life ended in tragedy, her spirit endures. Marilyn Monroe remains Hollywood's eternal golden girl, a star who will never be forgotten, forever glowing in our collective memory.